Alright, hey everyone, Christian here from CK Wraps. Today I'm using Vvivid, Vvivid's new premium line. I'm using a color called Satin Rusted Black Chrome or Satin Rusted Chrome. I can't remember the name exactly. It is listed on their website right now. This is a beautiful color actually. It changes quite a bit in the light. It goes from like yellow to purple to blue, and the main color is blackish, grayish, not even really sure. It's just pretty wild actually. I'll show you afterwards. We're going to show you how to wrap the mirror on this Camaro. As far as the back piece goes, this piece has already been done. As far as the front piece goes, this mirror is 2 pieces. So not terribly difficult to do this front piece, and we can do this mirror in 2 pieces without any seams showing, so we'll use that to our advantage. So we're going to start with wrapping this back piece. I've already prepped the surface with isopropyl alcohol, wiped it down thoroughly, made sure that there's no imperfections or any grease or dirt left behind. I've also taken a compressor and blown away all the contaminants, so super important to do that. I have a piece of Vvivid, the Vvivid material right here already. I've already actually removed the backing. I haven't pre-stretched it or anything. So I'm just gonna basically place this where we need it to go. This mirror it might look complicated because there is, its entirety is all black, it's all painted. So if this were white, you'd see all white, etc. for whatever color. So basically, this mirror, we're just gonna wrap it following how the mirror wants to be wrapped. If that makes any sense at all, we're gonna work with the material instead of working against the material. So this part here is super easy. So we're gonna basically lay this piece down. That's what I'm gonna do. This is how I'm gonna do it. There may be other people's opinions on how they wanna do it. This, I find, is probably the easiest way to do this mirror. So we do have to go down on the inside of this mirror as well. But as you can see, we can actually just kind of tuck this piece down. We're gonna need a little bit of heat to even out some of the wrinkles, but there's a little bit of wrinkles up here that will start to form. But for the most part, we can just start rolling this piece right over, and it'll just lay down really nicely. We need to finish the top piece here. And as you can see, this material stretches quite well without heat. I'm gonna need to use some heat, that's for sure, especially to get underneath. This mirror is black through and through, all the way underneath, all the way to the front, everything. So, I'm going to grab my chair, and we're gonna get some heat going here. So what I want to do is take the stretch mostly from the bottom here, because I'm going to be bringing this down and around. This material is also not as delicate as other chromes, so keep that in mind. We can be a little bit more aggressive with it. And I'm not stretching it very hard at all, as you can see. Once I get to this point over here, everything's just going to shrink back after I heat. And we're going to be done this mirror in no time. So as you can see, I'm just working the film. I'm going with the flow. As you can see, I'm pulling more on this side because it's more important that I work the film in this direction over here on the underside, because this will kind of just fall into place. We can even this out by pulling down and working it down a little bit at a time, but for the most part, and then there is an edge that stops underneath here for that front face piece. So we just need to wrap up to that edge, and obviously up to the seal that goes around the bottom of the mirror here. At some point, we'll have to create a relief cut. So we just need to work this material around the bottom. It's really not hard. This is probably going to take me like less than 10 minutes with explanation. So as you can see, I'm pulling, I'm spreading out. I'm adding heat really just to spread out the fingers, just to spread out these wrinkles. Now, tension is going to start to build in this area here if we don't keep working it. I'm nearly there. I haven't done this mirror yet, so this is a new one for me. So I want to make sure that we're kind of tucking into the seal here. I'm going to create a relief cut. Always be careful when you're cutting. Okay, that helps a little bit as far as being able to tuck the rest of this down along this lower edge of the seal that runs along the mirror. So if you don't leave yourself enough material, you're going to find yourself in a bit of a pickle. I know it was pretty lame of me to say that, but I said it. So we want to make sure that we have enough material, but not too much, because if we have too much material, it's going to get stuck to here, and it's just going to be more of a headache to wrap. So you want to make sure you have enough and not too much. All right, as you can see, I'm still just working the film, and I keep, you notice that I'm pulling in this way. So I'm pulling it around the underside of the mirror. I'm pulling it around the underside of the mirror because it's helping to spread out all these wrinkles. And there's actually, I have 0 wrinkles on the underside of this mirror right now. Even if I heat this up and shrink it back, it's very relaxed. There's next to no wrinkles on the underside here. I'm just adding a little bit of heat. You can see I'm not using very much. And we just got to keep working it in there, little by little. So we can create more relief cut here. Again, being very careful. We don't want to slip, cut ourselves, and we want to make sure that we're cutting right on that seal. And we do need relief cuts so that we're not adding too much strain to the film. So as I cut along the bottom here, see? Now we have a more relaxed film under here. I'm just looking for that line so then I can put another relief cut. There's absolutely nearly no stretch on this thing at all. So that's a good thing. It's basically just tightening itself up around the mirror as I pull in and wrap it. There's no stretch. You'll notice once I show you around the mirror that there's no wrinkles around here. This is very straight. And that's a good thing, because if we have too many wrinkles around the edges, it just means we have too much strain usually, and it's going to end up pulling back. Plus, we can't get a good contact with the film to the paint if there's too many wrinkles there. So that means you're going to have air in there, you're going to get water, debris, everything else. We want to make sure everything's nice and tight. So I'm just tucking into this lower section. There's an edge here that separates the two pieces. I'm going to tuck in to that and not stretch into it. It's always important to lay in as opposed to stretch in. All right, let me finish off this bottom piece. Okay. So this is all done under here. There's no wrinkles. I'm going to show you around all of this before we even, before I trim anything. So again, I need to work the film a little bit more this way. Not using any heat. The only time I might use heat is around the edges, just to get them in there nice and tight. That's about it. But that would be the reason why I would be using heat around the edges. It's more kind of like a post-heat insurance, making sure that everything is nice and sealed up and tight. So this is going to be challenging getting into here because, as you can see, the vinyl wants to stick to the car. Now I can mask here and use masking tape and the film won't stick really at all, and that'll be a lot easier to slide the vinyl down. I'm going to do it the hard way. And what I want to do is I want to stretch this a little bit more and even it out. So more so just kind of glass it a bit, just like that. And I want to pull it a little bit towards the front, since this mirror, everything goes this way on the mirror. We started basically from the back and went forward. So I'm just working the film down. What happens when I do this is that I'll be able to shrink it all back afterwards. So if I get excess film in here, all I have to do is add heat and it'll shrink back now that I stretched it this way, which is what you want. So again, can be a little bit more challenging getting down in here, but we just need to get down to that lower seal, which I'm almost there. And I'm sorry you can't see this, I wish you could. But I'm going to trim around the lower seal here because I need to put a relief cut. We don't really need to tuck this film in to this area. You can remove the mirror and tuck it and trim a little bit excess and leave a little bit excess there for afterwards. But for the most part, we don't need to really tuck too far into there. We got to make sure we have full coverage, of course, as always. And if you have a white mirror, you may want to tuck into that seal a little bit more. The issue with tucking in the seals like this is these pieces usually move. The seal is really tight, so what's going to happen is that film is going to start to shift and it's going to wrinkle up. It happens all the time. Just something to be mindful of. So if it happens to your car and you're wrapping your own car, don't worry, it's totally natural. But the one way you can avoid that is by trimming very closely and very tightly to the edges and seals. So not necessarily always tucking in. It is very important to tuck into places like this in the front of the car, especially where the roof is, where it meets the window, because there's a lot of wind and rain and all kinds of things that are hitting it all the time, and it's really important to tuck into that area, but not always necessary in all areas. So you just want to basically put the vinyl as close to that seal as possible, so that there's obviously no color showing anymore. I'm just adding a little bit more heat to have some wrinkles, so I wanted to even everything out. And you can see that I'm not pulling here, I'm just repositioning. So I'm down at that seal. Like super easy, guys. Like this is, it looks difficult, but it's really not. Mainly because we can do this in two pieces, because the mirror is two pieces. So again, I want to tuck into this gap that's right here. So I'm trying to give some slack to the vinyl. Cool. So before I do any trimming or cutting or anything like that, I'm going to heat this up. I'm going to show you that everything is very much relaxed. And we're going to give it a little post heat. Now there's no distortion. I'm actually going to get a flashlight right now. So there's no distortion or anything on this mirror. we can see the inside. We're right down to the seal. This is a beautiful color. Look at the metallic in that. So these wrinkles that run along here are not aggressive. These are not severe. These are very minor wrinkles that are at this corner here. And the reason that is because we pulled out and down, and I didn't even add any heat for that area. So again, we'll go underneath. I'll add some light so we can see everything. So there is this edge right there. Those wrinkles, they're not on the edge at all. They're just beyond it. Sorry, it's really hard to see, guys. Then it runs right down there. So that's the edge right there. Runs down to the lower seal, and we've trimmed it away. So I'm going to trim away the rest of this right now. And then I'm going to show you what this car looks like from a bit of a distance. So if you want to see it, keep watching. Again, be gentle with your blade as always. Let the blade do the work. Once we trim and cut, we're going to post heat. Some lights in the floor would be pretty awesome. So again, I'm just doing this mirror wrap because you might have a Camaro. You know, it's going to be literally impossible for me to get around to every car in the world that everyone owns, but you know, I do my best. I can only really do cars that are being brought to me by customers, so let's get that junk out of the way. Let's finish up with some heat. Lovely, it looks good. So I've removed the glass. As you can see, we've gone in and wrapped inside this separate piece on the front. All the way underneath, of course, we have full coverage. Sorry, it's a little bit dark. And then if you want to see what the whole car looks like, well, some of it. So we've got the trunk done. Rear bumper still has to be done. But this entire side is now complete. The hood is not being done. The roof is staying black. Front bumper we have to do too. So we have plenty to do still. So stay tuned for more videos, and thank you for those of you who are subscribing to me, and if anyone else wants to see some more videos, please hit that subscribe button. I've got a ton more coming. We always got cars coming up, and usually always unique projects with brand new colors. This is getting a full camo wrap, a custom camo wrap or custom camo design. Once we're done with this, it's going to follow about a day after, because the client wants to take this car for a little photo shoot as is this color. This car looks actually super badass because it's bagged and it's got some really nice wheels and looks amazing. So anyways, thanks for following, everyone. If you want to see more, please subscribe. Take care.